Hey guys, Shintai here, and today I have with me my good friend Bobsamurai. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
This is kind of a series that I wanted to do where just bring on some people, have some casual discussions, so people can get to see kind of a casual side of both video makers, YouTubers or whatever. So what you been up to, man?
I've been playing some Gundam Senki, Gundam 0081. It's this import Japanese game. That's what I've been playing lately. I haven't been playing too much of anything.
Yeah, I saw some videos of that. It looked really interesting. It's like a Gundam simulator type thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a review on it once I get everything. It's pretty cool. I'm looking for more people to play online with.
It looks like a hard game to start because you start really weak.
Yeah, you gotta play online with it. I played the story mode, and I was very weak in it, and I died. Maybe it's because I didn't know how to play at the time. I can probably go through and beat it now, but I don't want to do that, because I'm starting off in the beginning, and I don't have any of these good Gundams anymore. And that's what makes you suck.
The only games from the Gundam series I've really played were the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games. Because there really aren't many Gundam games in general, or at least not any good ones that I've played.
There's a couple. It's hard to find good ones in America. Dynasty Warriors Gundam is pretty good. I wanted some sort of online mode for it. I think 2 had online, but I never had anybody play with them too.
But I think what everyone wanted was just co-op with a friend or something.
Co-op and single player versus mode. Remember back in Dynasty Warriors 3 and Samurai Warriors 1, they had 1 versus 1 split screen. It's where you could just fight each other.
Yeah,
but then they took it out. It's why would you even do that? And what they needed to have back then was a way that you can import your character onto another person's game and then have 1 versus 1 split screens.
Yeah, that would have been good. But the thing is, with Dynasty Warriors, it's so weird the decisions that Koei makes. They'll make a new game, they'll take a step forward, but they'll take a step back in another department.
How they did with Samurai Warriors 3.
Yeah, I heard a lot of bad things about
that. Dude.
I heard so much.
I gave it a bad review, and I got 1,000 views on it. Maybe 4,000, I don't know. But the problem with that is that they change everything. I don't know why they put it on the Wii, but the thing is, you had Samurai Warriors 2 on the 360, and that looked better. The problem with the Wii, or the problem with Samurai Warriors 3 in general, is that they give you so many different objectives. You can't just go into this blood rage induced daze where you just surround yourself with enemies and just start plowing through them, because you got so many objectives to complete. You can't just hang out and just do whatever you want in there. And one thing that has been lacking in all these games is a hell mode where you just go through, where you just have infinite enemies. Remember in Dynasty Warriors 3? You had a mode where you can fight infinite people. It's an endurance mode. They had that in Samurai Warriors 2 and Samurai Warriors 1, but it was in a tower mode. But you had intervals between your waves and everything, not like Dynasty Warriors 3. But the Gundam thing, one of my big issues with Dynasty Warriors Gundam is that there is the separation of levels and pilots. I hated that. I play as Miliardo Peacecraft, and then, I'm watching some earlier Gundam, and I'm I want to play some Char Aznable, but I can't. Well, I can, but I just don't have the particular mech's license to me. I got to start off with the Zaku when I want to play as a Suzabi, and then...
That was my biggest issue with the second game. The whole pilot license bullshit. I hate it.
I think the pilot license should be attached to your save file, not the particular character. You as a person should be able to achieve those licenses. It shouldn't be as you've unlocked this, not this particular character is licensed to that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The character level thing, that is alright, only if they divide what you can do with the characters. For example, Char Aznable and Amuro Ray, they're new types, so they should have new type abilities, as where other people shouldn't.
Yeah, but really the only thing the new type affects is what kind of mobile suits you can use. Amuro Ray can pilot the new Gundam, or he can pilot the Cubile or something, because
the whole new type thing in space, you sense everything around you, so you should be able to evade a lot faster, because you've sensed it. You've sensed the thoughts of your enemies and whatnot.
Well, if they did something like that, it would probably make the game a little broken.
True. I wonder what it would be like if a new type had gotten in a Zero machine. In Wing.
Yeah, in Wing.
Show me my anime!
That would have been awesome!
Yeah, they would have been going crazy if you had put a Zero unit inside of a Suzabi or a Zilong, or just one of the epic crazier Gundams from Zeta Gundam, Charge Counterattack.
I always liked the Hyakushiki, even though it wasn't even in the series, it wasn't really anything special. I just liked the way it looked, and especially how it fought in Dynasty Warriors Gundam. It was just really cool.
Yeah, it actually reminded me of Kunoichi. The fighting style was pretty much copied Kunoichi, except for it added like bullets and stuff like that. But I was thinking about getting one of those model kits and sanding off all the gold and making it like a really shiny red, like a candy red for Char, because he piloted it.
Yeah, you've been getting into creating these like models and stuff, and you've done some really cool shit, I've got to say.
Thanks. I'm just an amateur though compared to the people I've seen.
Well, I'm like even less than that compared to you, because I see some of those models you made, and I'm like, fucking awesome.
Thank you. Thanks. I've only been doing it for a couple months, like real steady like that, and it's only my second one that I've been airbrushing, that Cubile I've done. There's a couple different things I was thinking about doing, like maybe taking a gun tank and an RX-78 and buying one of those little grassy hills that you get for models and stuff, and maybe having the RX-78. You take some of this piano wire I got and have it, not the RX-78, but the gun tank, the upper body of it suspended in the air, and have the little jet that's on the inside of it like shooting out, so it's like flying away and it's all battle damaged and everything, just like a battle scene going on. Or maybe have the Rick Diaz, not the Rick Diaz, what am I thinking? What was the guy's, the blue Gundam? It's Rambo Rawls. His Gundam. I forget what it was called. It was a variation of Zaku, but regardless, have them maybe like shaking hands or something, because they had this like respect for each other. That'd be pretty cool. But back to the game, 3 looks pretty good actually. Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3. It's got a lot. It's got the tall geese, and it's got
heavy arms.
Yeah,
Death Scythe. I
always want some sort of, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but there's this game for 360 in Japan where it's like a shooting game where you can like walk around and shoot and stuff, and you can also get inside of a Zaku and you can like fly around and have battles that way. It's kind of like Call of Duty, but you can get inside of Gundams.
I've never seen that. That sounds awesome.
Cool.
So it's like Call of Duty meets Armored Core or something?
Well, maybe more like Warhawk meets Armored Core.
Warhawk was a pretty good PS3 game.
It was something like that, because you can't really compare Call of Duty to anything that, has something different from the norm. It isn't cookie cutter.
Because of Call of Duty, there's just been so many fucking shooters this generation. I mean, I don't have anything against shooters. I like shooters. They're fun. But it just feels like there's way too many, and the market's just oversaturated with them. I mean, a few of them are like really good. Like, I really enjoyed Borderlands. That was a lot of fun.
I like shooters here and there. I can't really get into Call of Duty anymore.
I can only play a little bit, and then I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah. I used to play Modern Warfare 1 all night long, and then, World at War came out, and I was like, I don't want to play this, because it's the same thing. It's just, you get bigger guns that take up more of the screen, you have slower reload time, it just makes everything worse. I mean, granted, they're the exact same thing with different skin on it, but what's the point? I'm tired of these World War II games. We already fucking dealt with that shit. We probably put more time into World War II games than the vet has actually being in World War II.
Yeah, there was a time where there was like nothing but fucking like World War II games.
Yeah, like fucking Halo. That's the fucking worst World War II game adaptation I've ever seen. Fucking Halo.
I never thought of it that way.
They got these aliens over here. Let me shoot them up. Getting off the boats.
Shoot them aliens.
Come get your gun. Actually, I was thinking about this recently. Maybe a Gundam MMO or something, where you could like customize your Gundam and have your character that walk around in the bases or whatever, and you choose to be like Alliance or Federation or something like that.
I'm surprised there isn't a fucking Gundam MMO. Considering how popular Gundam is, I'm really surprised there isn't one.
There might be like a crusty one in Japan or whatever.
Yeah,
I'd like to play it regardless of how crusty it is. I've been playing Zero online, and that's kind of giving me my Gundam fix. But it's just not the same thing. It's a 2D anime game. But I just trying to get my Gundam fixed. Also, speaking of the Dynasty Warrior type games, I was thinking, there's that Bleach game coming out. I don't know if you played the demo.
I know what you're talking about. It's called Soul Ignition in Japan, but over here they're going to call it Soul Resurrection.
Yeah, I played the demo for that. It was so horrible. But the thing is, I mean, I used to like Bleach. I was the biggest Bleach tard back in, the rescue arc, and, when Ichigo first got his hollow powers and everything back when he was fighting Zaraki. I was a huge Bleach fan back then. Even though, the story wasn't really all that. It had, like, cool fights and cool powers and stuff, but...
Yeah, it was cool fight scenes.
I thought it'd be cool if they made a game like that, and now that they did, being it so bad, they should have let, like, Capcom, from a single Bobsamurai or Koei deal with it. They should have... I mean, it's not like you let them, because there is money involved, and, they're buying the license from the creator of Bleach to make the game about it.
Is it really that bad? What was wrong with it?
Try it out. There's you really don't get that many combos. People don't really attack you like that. You're just swinging and doing the same thing over and over and over. And your hollow form looks nothing like the hollow form in the game. It's really weird looking. I just didn't like it at all. It just felt very empty. The graphics were horrible. It looked like they actually fixed the graphics in the game. Now, I understand that the demo is a lot worse than the actual game is coming out. It's because it was just a demo. But at the same time, I see the trailer. I understand hack and slash games because I've been playing them for the last 10 years. And I can realize that this is not going to be that great of a game. They should have they should have had Koei deal with it.
Not just that, but we've all been spoiled by Sengoku Basara, because that game is so fucking awesome.
Sengoku Basara and Dynasty Warriors Gundam. Dynasty Warriors Gundam has a lot of characters on screen. And it has even more than like Samurai Warriors 2 did on the 360. And, of course, a whole lot more than Fist of the North Star.
I haven't played Fist of the North Star, but I definitely want to.
It is pretty good. I pay $40 for it. I'd say it's definitely worth that $40. There's a lot of different things that you can do in it, especially if you're a big Fist of the North Star fan. You can like replay through the people's story, and you can also do like an alternate mission mode, like a fantasy mode. Like for example, Kenshiro's fantasy is that Yuria was never taken or whatever, and that
of course
the North. Oh, well, yeah, of course. The Northern Star and the Southern Star have never split up, so... Well, they didn't separate from each other yet, but they were going to war with each other, so it had all the North and South Star fighting, so Jaggi and Rao and Kenshiro were all on the same team fighting against the South Star people, so you had...
so it's like a what-if kind of situation.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of what-if situations, and then Rao in the game is just so manly that he just punches and obliterates everything in its path.
I'm not surprised by that, because I recently saw a few episodes of Legends of the Dark King, and he was fucking...
He just like punches through the guy.
So manly in that one.
That's a great series too, but in Fist of the North Star, there's like, they do it right. They do it kind of like Sengoku Basara does, because every character that you play, Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage, and Sengoku Basara, Samurai Kings, it feels like it's a completely different game depending on who you use in the game, and that's exactly how it should be done.
That's one of the things that I didn't really care for in the Dynasty Warriors games in general, was some of the characters just feel so similar. Some of the characters, they kind of blur together.
Yeah, that's because they have so many characters. I mean, you can't really separate them.
They definitely did a better job with that, though, in Dynasty Warriors Gundam. Which each Gundam or each mobile suit, it does feel like you're playing a different mobile suit.
Yeah, but I feel like they just got lazy with a lot of it. Like, I'll recognize a lot of people's moves being reused. Like I said, Kunoichi, her moves are actually, I forget what her name was in Samurai Warriors 2. I saw her moveset being used. I saw a lot of people's moveset being used. It's just they give them like a beam saber and a rifle or something. They should create something, the characters, they kind of feel the same, or they feel like they've been hindered automatically. Like, say, for example, you use one of the other mechs that aren't as popular as the other mechs. They're not going to be strong. Like, even the Musha gun. I got Musha Mark 1, and the Muso one is just like one little burst Muso. You hold the button down, and even if you got 3 bars of Muso filled up, it's just only going to release one of them. He's going to do some little spinny attack, and that's it. However, the Musha Mark II is really good, and they just make some of the Gundams, and they're really bad. And like the Sazabi, and all these other Gundams that use those new type controlled little laser things, it's very hard to use because those things are very accurate and they only shoot like one person. However, if you're to use like the double Zeta and you jump in the air and sweep your sword across the ground, you'll get more kills with that one particular move than you'll with a Muso of any of the others.
But one thing I've always really appreciated with Dynasty Warriors Gundam is that it's what really got me into watching other Gundam series. Like, when I was in high school and I originally borrowed the first one, I didn't know anything about like Universal Century. So when I played it, I was like, who are these characters? What is all this? I was like, who the fuck is Amuro? Who the fuck is, Camille? And because of that game, I went ahead and saw the original Gundam. I saw Gundam Zeta. I was blown away. Zeta, like, originally Gundam Wing was my favorite Gundam.
Yeah,
now
me too.
Right now, Zeta is my favorite. I think
same here.
Like,
Zeta is really good.
Oh, dude, it is so good.
I want to watch those animated movies about it, like where they redo the animation and everything. I know they're going to be bad, but I would just like to see some of the battles.
What's kind of weird about it, though, was they mixed the old animation with new animation.
Yeah.
So it's weird, like, half the movie is, like, just clips from the series that you've already seen.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't do anything, it's the exact same clips. And then they'll put, like, clips of, like, new animation. And it just looks like it's really jarring.
The thing about the Universal Century Gundams is that there's so many like subtleties about it, which are actually complex situations. Like, for example, and 0079, the original. There's so many different complex things, like how people would react in war. Like I keep bringing up the situation, but it's an exact example of how complex. It's made in the 70s, so back then anything hand drawn for TV is automatically going to be grouped as being something for a kid, not like now where people can appreciate it at any age. But people would expect it for kids back then, even though I'm sure adults watched it as well. The white base had picked up some of these people that were on Xeon territory, and they were trying to get them out of there or something, because everybody knows that Xeon is a bunch of tyrants and everything, or so they think. And then the prisoners, the people that they picked up that they were saving, they assumed that they were prisoners because everything that they had heard about the Alliance. Are they the Alliance or the Federation, Earth Defense Force?
It's the Earth Federation and the Principality of Xeon.
Oh yeah, the Federation. Everything they heard about them was that the Federation was bad, so they thought they were prisoners, and they managed to get let go. So Amuro flew his plane out, and they dropped off the people. And then Amuro's hiding over there with his Gundam, and he sees one of these jets fly by, a Xeon jet, and the jet flies over those people and it circles back. And Amuro's like, oh no, he's gonna kill those people, because that's typical Xeon stuff according to what he's been taught. But the Xeon...
It's propaganda.
Yeah, it's the propaganda. And the Xeon, they drop off a bunch of food and medicine. It looks like it's a bomb, but it opens up and becomes like food and medicine and stuff. And then he's looking at them through the scope of his rifle because he's not close enough, and that's the only way that he can zoom in. The guy sees the lens flare. He flies over because he sees that he's being targeted. At that point, it's either blow up these people that save the people or get shut down yourself. And he had no other choice but to blow up the people, the Xeon fighter pilots, and be seen as an enemy in front of these people who you were originally just trying to save. And that's something that was in there for kids to watch.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's very complex.
It's not just that. There is a lot of complexity to Gundam in general. In the newest one, they came out with, not Unicorn, but Gundam 00. But half the show has to do with Setsuna and the other Gundam Meisters. But the other half also has to do with these two civilians. And it's for the most part, just what the fuck are we watching these people for? They seem pretty inconsequential. But then other Gundam Meisters, the ones that are considered the bad guys. One of the girls, she just did something. She just saw these people having a good time. Just to be a bitch, she decided to shoot a shot at them. And that girl was there because it's a guy and a girl and they're dating. And the girl was there, and she lost her arm because of that. You have these wars going on, and you have the Earth Federation and Principality of Xeon. But it also, what's great about Gundam, it also shows you from the civilian side the horrors of war and just the atrocities that innocent people can accidentally get into.
It killed people's families and stuff, or. Like the time that Amuro was under that blanket, and he was just so scared of war at that point, he just shot at the guy.
Because he's been killing people the entire time, but it hadn't registered in his mind until he saw someone,
see him as a monster.
Yeah, he saw someone dead in the cockpit or something like that.
Oh yeah, that too. But he was in the daycare center with his mom because he randomly found her, and he was under the blanket because they were trying to hide him. And he ended up shooting at that guy and killing him, chasing the other guy off.
His mom was just you're a fucking monster, get out of here. It's you don't love me anymore? It's get out of here, I don't know.
She changed her mind later, but...
Yeah, but, she was just so shocked to see Amuro shoot at someone. Because that's what war does, it changes people.
It does. It definitely does, because he's got that fear in him.
But what I was talking about before, there was a time where Amuro was just freaking out because he had been killing so many people up to that point, but he hadn't registered for him, and he just saw that someone was in the cockpit, and then he's oh my god, I've been killing people, and that's when Bright came in and infamously bitch slapped the fuck out of him. It's snap out of it, be a man.
And it's very easy to get caught up in what you're doing because it's like a game when you're fighting a mech. You're not fighting people, you're fighting just robots. And, it's a game. It's like a game or whatever. But the thing is, there's people inside of them. One thing I always I thought was weird, was redundancies in mechs. For example, why does a mech need to look through a scope to zoom in? Why can't it just have its own eye camera zoom in? Why does a mech need to pull a trigger? Why does a mech need to press a button on its own body? When it's inside of its own body, the computer should just be able to tell that operation to go ahead and operate, Or like when Transformers sit down on a chair, it's like, why do they even? They're not people. They don't need to pull triggers. They don't need to press buttons. They should be able to operate just by the computer inside of them, you know?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, with the gun, like with the scope, I understand. Like the camera lens should be able to zoom in on their own. I don't know what's up with that. I think that was only in the original. But the whole pulling the trigger of the gun, that I can kind of understand because the Gundams have actual hands, and to be able to use like different equipment, they need to be able to use it differently. You know, because one part the hand needs to close in order to grab the lightsaber, or you know, it needs to like hold the javelin.
But what if like in their hand was a giant like a port which would plug into whatever they were holding, and it would just operate via electric signals? Wouldn't that be much more accurate?
Well, at the same time, put into consideration just what the technology is like at the time, if something like that can be done. For the newer Gundams where they're more advanced, you could just argue, well, they wanted to keep the same style because you know, it's Gundam.
Yeah.
But there are so many Gundam series, it's crazy. There was one day where I told myself I'm gonna watch every fucking Gundam, and I hadn't realized just how much of a daunting task that is, because just the Universal Century timeline, that alone has so many Gundam series in it. It's crazy. There's the original Gundam, there's Gundam 0080 War in the Pocket, which I highly recommend, that one's really good. Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory, another one that's really fucking good. There's Zeta, there's Double Zeta, Shard Counterattack, Victory
8th MS Team.
Yeah, 8th MS Team, my bad. Victory Gundam, F91 Gundam, so many. And Gundam Unicorn, the newest one.
That's in UC.
Yeah, that's Universal Century.
I like how that is. It's like all HD and new style and everything, but they went with the art style of the old one. Like with the people just look very old school.
I mean, I haven't had a chance to watch too much of Unicorn yet because I prefer to watch something when it's finished. I haven't even started. I've seen a couple fights and everything. You know, I kind of want to build some of the Gundams from Unicorn, but you know, I feel weird building a Gundam when I don't know and you pilot it and everything. Like when my last my Keyblade, I tailored that after Puru because I knew who Puru was, and I tailored the wing after Hiro Yui. I just had that feel in my head, but then I did the perfect grade Stray frame, and I just didn't know what I was doing, or the Extreme Gundam. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, it's just like it has no soul because I don't know the pilot. I haven't watched Double Zeta yet, but you know, I know Puru from like the Dynasty Warriors game.
Well, yeah, I've played Dynasty Warriors enough to know all the stories. I've seen halfway through Double Zeta. I need to finish watching that because everybody says it's decent, but the first half is just kind of bad.
Yeah, I heard because it's like really lighthearted and very un-Gundam-ish. You know?
Plus, I don't like how Camille Bidan just goes crazy and everybody forgets about him.
What do you mean he goes crazy and everyone?
He goes crazy. Remember at the end of Zeta?
No, well, at the end of Zeta, did he go and like lose his memory or something?
Yeah, he lost his mind. He went crazy. Everything's gone. He's just like a shell.
Why? What happens to him in Double Zeta?
Nothing. They just don't even address the shit.
What the fuck? That's bullshit.
I mean, they may, like, later on in the series, something I haven't seen, but, you know, the Double Zeta, they get this guy who's like he's a junk guy. He steals from junkyards, and he's like a thief, and just takes and puts stuff together and makeshifts everything, and he's the one at Judo. And so that's him. It's a far cry from Amuro or Camille.
I think Camille could have been, like, the best Gundam pilot if he would have survived that, because the only real problem with him was like he had a lot of anger issues. But but towards the end, when he started to get more mature and he started to control his emotions more, he became a more proficient pilot.
I mean, that battle against Haman-kun, that was pretty crazy. I thought that was like probably one of the best Gundam battles I've ever seen. But then I saw that because I saw 0079 or 0078. What is it? 79. I saw that after I saw Zeta. And that Char Aznavour versus Amuro Ray fight was just insane. Like,
yeah, because he's got his head exploded, he can't see anything, and he's just he's walking around with a Gundam.
His head's cut off, and he's using a center camera, and then his arm gets cut off, and they both fly out of their Gundams and start shooting at each other and sword fighting. He gets stabbed through his arm, and the sword breaks off, and it's just some crazy shit, dude. They get out of their Gundam and they just fight.
Yeah, down and dirty. The thing is, with Amuro and Char, I still think that that's like one of the greatest rivalries period. Not just in anime. It's just such a great rivalry overall.
True.
Because, like, because there are times when, like, they're on the same side. But
Yeah.
even as friends or enemies, they always consider each other rivals.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about doing a series of videos, like, talking about the greatest stories ever told. Like, the Universal Century story, then talking about Fist of the North Star, the relationship of how Rao was actually the main character and Kenshiro was just, like, stepping on his heels and hindering his work, basically. That's all he was really doing. I mean, Rao killed so many people in his journey. But the thing is, how many people died for Kenshiro taking his sweet time?
Yeah.
Okay, let me walk through the desert as slow as I possibly can.
I saw the Fist of the North Star movie, not the live action one.
I saw bits and pieces. I tried to watch that one morning on YouTube, the bits and parts of it.
What, the live action one?
Yeah, it's on there. It's like 8 parts. I got halfway through it, and at the point where Shin shot Kenshiro's master, I just turned it off. I was like, okay, I tried to humor this, and no.
The humor's gone.
He shot him with a gun.
That's fucking stupid.
Yes, it's very stupid. Shin. Why does Shin need to shoot anybody? Dude, in the manga, Shin is beast. He's sitting there like, the only thing this guy's wearing is a fucking robe. He's completely naked. He's having an orgy, and somebody comes up like, "My lord, Kenshiro escaped us," and he just gets up from his orgy, cuts the people into pieces with his bare fingers, and goes back to just banging a few bitches.
Nice. Like I was saying before, I saw the movie, not the fucking live action one, but it's an anime movie. It had a really bad
I've seen
dub.
it. The dub was
really
horrible. Plus, they
Yeah.
take a lot of liberties with the story. However, there was a couple good things, like when Kenshiro had his beard.
Yeah, he had the
Dude,
beard.
Kenshiro's beard, dude. He cut a building in half with his head. Dude, Chuck Norris ain't got shit on Kenshiro's beard.
I liked his entrance because he's like covered in like dirt and
Yeah,
fucking
because he was
stone.
passed out at the bottom of that cliff where Jaggy threw him.
Yeah, he was walking and like the buildings were falling. He was walking through the buildings as they were falling on him.
He punched him in half, that's why they were falling.
It was so awesome.
Then he
And-
comes up and like
yeah,
hits the guy in his head, and his head just pops off like a fucking coke top.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. They had some liberties with the story, but the animation was done by the same team that did the original Vampire Enter D movie, so
man.
it was just great to watch, and the fight scenes were just so fucking awesome. Especially when he fights Rao at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's such an epic fight.
One thing I like about Fist of the North Star is of course there's plenty of things to like about Fist of the North Star, but take, for example, you've got an anime now. Pick any anime. There's 2 characters that have a grudge with each other, and these characters are not the main character. For the most part, a lot of the time, the main character will take over and kill that guy instead. Like, for example, how Goku killed Frieza instead of Vegeta. Or how, like, Naruto is, fighting people who's got grudges with them, and Ichigo has always got to come in and settle things for other people, It's just like the main hero has always got to get the fun, but in Fist of the North Star, Ray, he killed Judah. Everybody pretty much handled their own business in Fist of the North Star. Kenshiro's not, he's like a superhero, but he let people handle their own business.
That's one thing, though, with a main character in general. A main character should be at the center of the story, but that doesn't mean he should always be at the center of attention. There's a difference. The plot should obviously be relevant to him because he's the main character, but that doesn't mean that it's his job to fix every single issue.
That's right. Well, actually, what am I thinking? Metal Gear Solid's got an amazing story, too.
Yeah, for the most part. I wasn't very fond of how Metal Gear 4 handled the story. For the most part, it was good.
It tied up all the loose ends and everything. It was good. I prefer 3, though.
3 is my favorite, but I just didn't like some of the things that 4 did. I pretend that whole section with Big Boss after the credits just doesn't even exist because it's just so redundant and it wasn't necessary.
It was pretty much him just reiterating the facts that this whole time he's been against Patriots. Yes, he was against the Patriots this whole time. And pretty much Snake has been a bad guy, hindering his footsteps, just like Kenshiro and Rao.
My problem with that, though, is Big Boss was fucking barbecued by Snake in Metal Gear 2. He didn't just die, he was fucking charbroiled. Snake, to beat him in the game, had to make a makeshift
in Metal Gear 2?
On the MSX, not Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh,
like the original
Metal Gear Original 2.
The original Metal Gear 2. What you had to do is you had to make a physical makeshift flamethrower, and that's what you did to kill Big Boss at the end. There was no way he could have come back from that.
You sure it wasn't a clone?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't a clone, because it was like,
because there's already been 4 clones of them.
I think it was before that technology or something. No, not before the technology, but like...
I guess they saw the potential of it and just wanted to rewrite the story.
I just didn't like that part. I also didn't like that everything was explained with nanomachines. Oh, he uses telekinesis. It's nanomachines. Oh, he can do this. Nanomachines. Why are Naomi's boobs so big? Nanomachines. You know, everything...
I mean, I've heard worse. It's in the Bible.
No, but my problem with that is, like, you go to Metal Gear 3, which takes place in the fucking 60s.
And you have people doing the same thing, but nanomachines aren't around.
Exactly, you can't fucking say it's nanomachines.
True, well, I mean, you possibly could, because, well, you couldn't really.
Wait, the nanomachines got in a time machine?
Even conspiracy theorists don't really think nanomachines are around back then. Because I've heard all sorts of, like, conspiracies about nanomachines and everything. Oh, they're in the air, they're crop dust and nanomachines, they're controlling our minds.
I mean, that's one of the things I liked about Metal Gear was, like, you had, like, these weird characters like Psycho Mantis and Vamp, and that one girl who can, you know, she can deflect bullets and stuff. It was cool little mystical things like that kind of threw it off from just being a regular, you know, military-esque stealth game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, they kind of took away from that in 4, and I was just like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, there were a lot of good things in 4, but there were even much more good things in 3, where you can fix your own bones, where you could eat your own food, where you can, you know, make your own camouflage. You could wear camouflage just to look cool. I mean, I'm
not trying to talk too much shit about 4, because I did enjoy it. It was a fun...
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of 4, too. I only beat it one time, though, which is the only Metal Gear that I've only beaten once.
I've beaten every single Metal Gear at least more than once, I think. Except for, like, the older ones on, like, the MSX, but...
I haven't even really. I played a bit of those here and there, because I have them on Subsistence, Disc 3 or whatever. It's the only place I played them.
Yeah, I have them too, but they're hard to get into because they're so old. Hard to play them.
What about that Metal Gear Solid 4 level when you're playing Metal Gear 1?
Oh, yeah, when you're in Shadow Moses. That was my favorite part of that game.
I was so stuck on that because I never played 1 before at that point.
Oh, that sucks.
I never owned it because I never had a PS1. I have Metal Gear Solid 1 on PlayStation Network.
But you can actually play that on the GameCube as well.
I'd like to play that, but they take so many liberties. Like, you got Snake doing backflips and everything.
Yeah.
It was actually directed by the director of Versus. I don't know if you've ever seen Versus. I had a movie night one night. I don't know if you were there for it, but it was pretty much like crazy off the wall, over the top, under the bridge action.
It doesn't really work for Metal Gear, for seeing Snake to do like a fucking flip.
Yeah, especially like a couple years later, he's 90 years old. The old Snake done too many backflips.
Plus, not just that, but like, you can't do that during the game, so it kind of detracts from the experience.
Yeah, there's so many situations that you could die from. Like, if you had the ability to backflip like that, it would have been so much easier to live through. And also, what do you think about Metal Gear Solid 4 when not only do you have to eat, not only do you have to kill enemies, not only do you have to sneak around, but you gotta manage your, like, age pains and everything, like take painkillers for your back and stuff?
Not only that, but if you crouch for too long...
His back will get stiff.
Yeah,
he's all my
back.
back.
Has to, like, his back around. Oh.
Yeah, and you gotta give him painkillers and everything.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
I wonder why they did the whole aging thing anyways, because it was explained within the game, but it could have just as easily been not that.
Yeah, they explained, like, oh, because he's a clone, the technology was imperfect, he's growing older. But you're right, it just could have not been that. I think that was Kojima finally trying to say, look, I don't want to do Metal Gear anymore. But look, we've got Peace Walker and Rising now.
Yeah, I'd like to play more big boss games.
Look, I'm sorry, Kojima, I love Metal Gear, but you need to fucking stop. I want Zone of the Enders 3, motherfucker. Give me that.
Yeah, but it's Zone of the Enders.
I love Zone of the Enders 1 and 2. Those games are so good and they're so underrated, especially the second one. That at the time, that game had like the best fucking particle effects I'd ever seen, and to this day they still look amazing.
I still need to beat that game. I have it. I just, like, whenever I play it, something else catches my attention, and then I forget the buttons, because it's a complex game, and you got a lot of things to remember as far as the buttons go. Like, once you're into it, you know, it's no big deal. You can just do it like riding a bike. Coming back to it after a couple months. I think my main problem with that at the time was that I was playing too much Warcraft.
World of Warcraft?
Yeah, that's what I was playing at the time I was playing that.
I've beaten those games. Both of them, I must have beaten them so many times.
I beat the first one a ton of times.
I played the first one before the second came out, and I played it so many times. And I was thinking, when are they ever going to make a sequel for this game? And when they finally did, I was like, day one. Day fucking one.
You ever watch the anime?
No, I haven't. I want to give it a shot, though.
It seems pretty interesting. I've seen a couple episodes back when I used to have the cable anime channel, back when I used to have cable and all that good stuff.
There's like OVAs, but...
no, it was a complete series.
No, I meant there was an OVA, and which, you know, both of them look pretty interesting. It's pretty cool, though, that, you know, the video games spawned some anime.
It kind of reminded me of Lion Barrels of Iron. The mechs from there remind me of Zone of the Enders.
Yeah, that show you recommended to me, it's on Instant for Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it one of these days.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not gonna change what you're thinking about Gundam. It's not gonna, or mechs or anything. It's not gonna make you like it more or make you like it less. It's average. Everything's been done before, but just because it's been done before doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah, I never understood what. It's like, oh, this is a ripoff, therefore, you know, I'm not gonna watch it.
It's like you're only allowed to eat one type of food once in your life or something. Like, oh, I had chicken last year.
Exactly. It's like, I've had cheesecake, so I'm not going to have any other variation of cheesecake. It's like, only plain cheesecake, no strawberry or chocolate.
Yeah, it's all the same thing, because it's all cheesecake.
I want to watch it, but first I have to finish Sayonara Setsubo Sensei. And
then, yeah, I need to start on that. I've been watching too many things right now.
And then after that, I'll finally watch Welcome to the NHK.
Oh, yeah, you need to watch that right now, dude. Put everything on hold. It will change your life. Welcome to the NHK.
From what I've kind of surmised on my own, from what I've heard, I think I am a hikikomori.
No, I would say that you're a hikikomori. I'm joking. I'm just as much of a hikikomori.
I know, but I have to watch the show to like really be concrete about it. But, you know, other than that, though, it just seemed like
that like it's hard to even watch the series for a second time. Or actually, I've already watched the second time for a third time because it's just like it just hits home a lot. You know, the guy's got a lot of problems that I can't really relate with, but at the same time, there's a lot of down to earth things. Also, you need to watch Genshiken.
What is that?
It's Genshiken.
Okay.
It's about a group of friends in a manga club. And, I don't know, it's very entertaining. I'm reading the manga right now. It's actually the first manga I've ever bought before. I bought all the volumes except for maybe 3. I'm taking my time through it because I feel that it's hard to read things when I'm at home. I got so many, like, monitors and Gundams, paint, and different distractions.
Speaking of reading, you're probably one of the only people I can talk this to about because nobody else really cares about this shit. But I've noticed that you've been getting into like visual novels. I recently sent you like Fate Stay Night. Even though that you do have some choices, most of it's like there's really only one good choice.
Yeah, because it give you 3 different choices, and one choice you can't really decide with. However, the other 2 choices are something that are just completely off the wall and will not get you what you want. What they need to do is make a visual novel with BioWare.
With BioWare?
Like Mass Effect type
in my opinion, it's whoever made the Way of the Samurai series. Because I think they do it better than BioWare, in my opinion.
Conversation.
Yeah, the conversations and the characters are much better, but in terms of being able to do different things and having the story actually go in completely different directions depending on your decisions, that's something that Way of the Samurai does better.
Yeah, I love the Way of the Samurai. Like, I brought it up in my top 10 RPGs as unmentionable because it's not an RPG, but it's definitely something that people need to play. It's just like any type of game. Like, I can say, you know, Dynasty Warrior can be good for any type of game or any type of subject like Dragon Ball Z. It would be fun to, you know, do a Kamehameha in front of a crowd of like 500 people just to see what happens. But that's good for just massive killing sprees. However, Way of the Samurai, if they would take that and apply it to other things, pretty much any story could be told through Way of the Samurai like engine and would be good pretty much because there's so many different things that you can do. For a visual novel to be coupled with Way of the Samurai engine, like if you could walk around and do stuff, that'd be really good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's kind of like a modern day Shenmue almost, because Shenmue you can do a lot of different things except for it's like really short and you can finish it. You can be Way of the Samurai 3, 4 times, 5 times in a day if you play it enough, but you can always see something different.
Yeah, that's one of the things. But that's kind of the point where the Samurai is supposed to like play it multiple times, try to get all the endings.
And a lot of these visual novels, it's like you really don't need to concentrate. Like once you beat the game once, it just like you can autoplay through it and get all these other endings. You pretty much stuck autoplaying it because if you don't autoplay, you're reading all the text about being in school, or riding the bus, riding the train.
Yeah.
All the stuff that you already know in your head. It's not going to change anything.
Right.
Just depending on your answers.
Well, Fate Stay Night's a little different than that in that there are clearly 3 different routes in the game. There's the Fate route, the Unlimited Blade Works route, and then there's the Heaven's Feel route, which is the most fucked up route of them all. Because the Fate route is the anime. The Unlimited Blade Works route is the movie. And Heaven's Feel, nothing. You can only see it in the visual novel. And it's because it's that fucked up.
Yeah.
Each route is very long, and it's only like really the beginning part of the game when you start a new route that you need to like retread same ground.
Yeah.
But then like the rest of it's just stuff you haven't seen yet. And it's just a completely different story. Now, each route is like 3 very different stories, and I really, really enjoyed it. Although I'd say that my favorite visual novel is probably Tsukihime.
Never heard of that one.
It's made by the same people who did Fate Stay Night. It was like their first game. Fate Stay Night's the game that they made from the money that they made from Tsukihime. They probably made like a shit ton of money from it.
Actually, in NHK, they're trying to make a visual novel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, him and his neighbor. I play like a little bit. I'm in the mansion right now on Fate Stay Night. It's very in the beginning because I've been playing other stuff.
Yeah, and, there are parts of Fate Stay Night where there's some really cool fight scenes and stuff. That's one of the things about Fate Stay Night. Like whenever there's a fight scene and you're reading what's going on, it just feels like the end of the world every fucking time.
Oh yeah.
It always feels like every single battle has weight behind it, and you feel like the main character he could just die. He could just die like any fucking moment. You're like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Is there like battle or something in it that you can actually like RPG?
No, unfortunately not. It's just strictly reading. But it's just that the way that it's written makes you feel very involved. Like you're just reading it, and you really feel like with the character.
Recently I played Princess Waltz, and that had a card battle system which I hated in it. And I hated that game altogether. I didn't like it one bit. It was creepy, to be honest, because first of all, the main girl in the story is presented to you first as a boy. So it's like, okay, I always think of this person as a boy, and then it doesn't really help the situation when they get naked and fuck each other. Because it's still a boy in my mind, and I'm just trying to skip it, and there's really no other people you can be within the story. There's no multiple endings. You gotta start the story over, and he still takes the same... It's so... I hated that game. I wish I never even played it.
That kind of reminds me of Persona 4, because one of the characters starts off like you think it's a boy, and then you later find out that it's actually a girl. I'm not gonna spoil who, although, to those who have played the game know who I'm talking about. It's
kind of like, say for example, you got this friend, and you knew the dude for a while, it's cool, and then you find out it's a girl. There's no way possible that you could just, be with a girl in that sort of way, because it's already, in your mind, it's your friend, it's the dude, so...
You may be able to come to accept, okay, this person's actually a girl, but it would be really hard to make that one step and be, intimate. Okay, we're almost at an hour, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up.
Alright, yeah, that sounds good then.
Thanks for coming, Bobsamurai. It's been a lot
no
of
problem.
fun.
It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Check me out, www.youtube.com/Bobsamurai.
Link will be in the description. He is an awesome dude. Check him.
I agree. See you guys later. Thanks for watching this long, if you managed to watch this long.
Take care, everyone.
Alright, see you later.